So a little viewing pleasure for you guys here.
We're in Paris, France. Every night for 3 nights. After the curtain came down, Jordan Matter was at the stage door waiting on us. And he would take us from iconic location to iconic location, to hole in the wall, to dive bar, to deserted street, to anywhere that he thought might be worth shooting. You never know what's going to happen next with Jordan Matter. We have no idea what the plan's going to be. He sees the spot, he says, this could work, what can you do? Shit, I don't know. I'm from Texas, Southern Baptist. I was butt naked in front of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France, holding a girl I had only met 15 minutes prior to the shot. When my mom sees that picture, she's going to flip. So after we shot at Notre Dame, we gotta get to the Louvre. If we don't get there in time, we're not gonna get the shot. We get there, it's closed. So we're thinking, well, you know what, we already took the trip. Why not just jump over these barricades and make this shot happen? We're shooting in front of the metro. And then all of a sudden, Jordan is shooting. This guy starts screaming at us, this is my station, this is you're disrespecting my space, you're disrespecting my area. More profile, get your shit up. And we get beer bottles thrown at us. And all of a sudden you have 4 naked people trying to find out, why is this guy throwing glass at us? What's going on? How the hell do I get out of here? Do I need to fight? Where are my underwear? After we were doing all this shooting, I looked at him and I said, now Jordan, you know that you should probably be in this book too. A few drinks later, he says, all right, let's make it happen. Wait, shit, are you serious? Are you gonna do it? Are you really gonna do it? He says, yeah, let's go. I don't want to just sit there and take pretty pictures. I'm there for the experience, and it's an experience with Jordan Matter.
Wow. There you go. Let's bring Jordan Matter up on the stage. Someone time us and tell us when it's 4 minutes, because I can spend 2 hours with Jordan. All right. So number one, this is a new segment to the show that as long as Jordan's in town, it's called A Matter of Fear. Because this man, it looks like he has no fear. But you said you do have fear, actually, right?
I do.
You do?
Of course.
Like right now?
Like right, I don't know what you're about to ask.
I don't know what I'm going to ask you to do. So Jordan, just has 2 books. You might have seen his work. You always see pictures of his dancers and Dancers Among Us, like dancers jumping over taxi cabs in clothing. So that's the book he has. And then the most recent, if you want to talk about it real quick.
Dancers After Dark, you just saw the video, so you know what it's about.
You know, it's naked, beautiful people doing artistic things. So here's Jordan Matter's information here. I want you, so the idea of this is, we just saw a little bit about facing fear. This whole premise of doing this is, how do people do what they love? How do people, when you're nervous, I mean, tell me real quick, you said once, if you don't feel fear before taking the shot, you know it's not the right shot, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, the idea is that, okay, first of all, I just want to say, Sean, that was unfortunate for you, this presentation, because I'm doing a talk at the, where are we going? The arts?
Expo, yeah.
What?
I think it's the expo. I have it in my calendar.
No, it's a nice big gig that I was going to bring him to in January, but the thing is, I'm supposed to be the main guy for that, and I think that he might overshadow me now that I've seen him talk. So unfortunately, I'm going to cut you for somebody boring. It's just the way it's going to be. Yep. And also his profile picture on Facebook is the picture that you had up there, and we have issues about that too. But I think the idea behind fear is this sense that we are taught as kids to fear failure, because it's so reinforced. So many times we try and we fail that we're just going to get gun shy. And the challenge as a parent is to find a way to help your children push through that and to teach them how to fail. Now, first of all, I know you're thinking that I couldn't possibly be old enough to have kids, but I started young, 7. So I have 2 kids, 10 and 6. And that's the greatest challenge, isn't it? I mean, to teach a kid how to get back up, how to have grit. As I was listening to you guys talk, actually, I was reminded of a story, if you don't mind me just telling you, rather than standing up here and talking about myself, it's about my son. What you guys said really resonated with me, and it reminded me of this story, was that he was in Little League, he was 9 years old, and he came up to bat with the bases loaded, 2 outs, last inning. Which for a parent is just a disaster. Like, it's just the scariest thing, because you know what's coming around the corner potentially. And he got up there and you could just see the way he walked up the plate. He was terrified. And this kid was a really good pitcher, and he watched the first 2 pitches go by, and then the 3rd pitch came and he took a weak swing, game over. And I just saw him walk back to the dugout, his head hung low. You just know your kid. You know he's crying. You know he's fighting it, right? I gave him a few minutes in the dugout. Everybody left. I came over. He just broke down, didn't want to talk to me. We got in the car. It was histrionics. I'm the worst player on the team. I suck. I'm never going to play baseball again. I hate sports. This whole thing. And the whole time I'm trying to tell him, listen, man, I'm proud of you for getting up there and trying. Next time you're going to be stronger. You got to face your fear. You fall back down. You get back up again. All those things that you say, those words you say, I was saying them all to him, and I could just feel that they just weren't resonating. And as we got to the house and we pulled up into the driveway, that for some reason this expression, actions speak louder than words, just popped into my head. So rather than getting out of the car, I just backed it up and started driving. And he stopped crying for a second. He's like, what are you doing? And I didn't say anything, and we drove in silence for about 5 minutes, and then we ended up back at the baseball field. And he started to panic. He's like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I mean, there was still some kids there, there were people playing. And I said, I want you to get back out there, and I want you to try this again. And he just refused, and he lost it, absolutely lost his mind. We got to the plate. Now, this is a risky proposition. How do you teach failure? Because he could just continue to fail right now. And I told him, I'm going to throw the ball harder than that kid did. I know you can hit it. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. Everybody was watching. He just stood at the plate, started screaming, he's crying. And it's just like we'd gotten this far, but I had no idea what was about to happen. And I threw a few balls. He wouldn't swing. He just stood there. He was embarrassed. And I really didn't know, because parenting is just one of those things. It's just you're making it up as you go. You don't know. And then I just said to him, if you're angry at me, pretend the ball is my face. And he just took the biggest swing, and he killed that ball. And the next pitch, I threw it a little harder, and he swung a little harder, and he hit it a little farther, and after the 3rd hit, he smiled. And then we stayed there until it got too dark to keep playing. And he left with a smile on his face. And then, I kid you not, this is true, but 2 weeks later, in the last game of the season, he came up with the exact same situation. Bases loaded, 2 outs, last game of the season, he walks up to the plate. I'm like, oh my God, this is not happening. This is going to happen. And he stood up to the plate, and he just walked up with what seemed to be a little bit more confidence. And he got up to plate, and the first 2 pitches, this kid is the best pitcher in the league. He was throwing bullets, and my son took 2 hard swings, 2 hard foul balls, and it was the last strike of the season for the team, and he gets up there. And I could barely watch. I was so scared. I could, like that thing where you're slitting your eyes a little. The kid rears back, throws the hardest pitch he's ever thrown in his life right into my son's leg. And he takes 2 steps towards first base and then collapses in pain. And I thought, well, at least all I need is ice this time. Now, I wish that story ended with a home run. But that's Hollywood. The reality of life, the reality of facing your fears and getting back up is that there's small steps. How to train yourself to go from failure to success is not one time. You get up there and then you succeed a little bit more, and you take another step and then you fail and then you succeed. And the idea behind serving others is to live that example and to try and show through your own actions and behavior how you can fall down and then get back up again continuously enough until the falling down is the thing you're looking for, because then you'll get back up quicker. So that was the story that I was inspired to tell from what you had to say.
No, I love it. And so one question, and that is, so how do we apply that to our lives as we want to do meaningful work, being that we have survival, we have to pay rent, we might have student loans, we might, be married and we don't want to fail our wives or husbands, right? So how do we take those risks, knowing that survival is right there?
My father-in-law has a great expression, probably the only thing I agree with him about. I will quote him now. That part might not need to go on the internet. But he's a salesman in computer software, and his expression is more knows faster. The idea being that he wants to go get turned down 20 times because he knows the 21st time he'll get the job, right? He'll get the deal. So I think that the whole thing about determination and grit is just simply continuing to fail. Just training yourself that failure is not just part of life, but the great part of life. And I think that the people that succeed always have failure before success.
So the theme we're hearing today from Sean and from Jordan is no. Keep being told no, or saying no, and allowing it to just become a habit to accept. Jordan Matter!
Thank you.